Hi everybody, welcome back to Project Happy Home. If you're new here, I'm Tanya, Dr. Lawyer turned homeschool mom of 3 kids ages 15, 12, and 10. If you are interested in videos about secular homeschooling, raising a child with ADHD, and living a more essentialist lifestyle, you've come to the right place. So be sure to hit that subscribe button somewhere below the video. In today's video, I'll be showing you a brief introduction to a math curricula that many of you may be familiar with, whether or not you've used it, and that is CTCMath. I had actually briefly used CTCMath for 1 year when we were in a transitional year moving from Texas to North Carolina. So while a lot of our curriculum was boxed up, I wanted to make sure that for math, especially, my kids stayed on track. I am actually going to revisit CTCMath this year with my youngest because I think it's really nice to have different modalities of math instruction as kids progress through math. Sometimes we switch curricula just because we get bored or our kids get bored. I've always used several different math curricula throughout our homeschooling experience, partly because I want to make sure that the kids can apply mathematical concepts in different formats. So one curriculum might always word problems a certain way or always have a certain order and progression. I like to mix it up, particularly because I think interleaving skills is very helpful, but also because I think that having the opportunity to display your mathematical knowledge, your understanding of concepts in different formats, in different curricula, in different situations is really indicative of how well you understand the concept. So I'm really excited to just go over really quickly the website as somebody who was once familiar with it, but is now exploring it again for the first time. So in real time, let's go ahead and explore some of the features that CTCMath has to offer. All right, friends. So when you first go to the ctcmath.com website, this is the screen that welcomes you. And a couple things I'd like to point out before we move on. CTCMath offers you access to all 6,000 plus lessons in grades K through 12 for each of your children. When you buy a family membership, if you have a child who is keeping pace, they can stay at their grade level. But if you have a child who is advanced in math or progresses at a much faster rate, they can easily access advanced grade levels. Similarly, if you have a child who needs a little bit of practice in a skill that might have been from a year prior, you have access to those lessons as well. That is a huge advantage. I'd also like to point out that if you go to the Homeschoolers tab, you'll see this up here, and it says 1/2 price for homeschoolers. And in fact, CTCMath does offer half off memberships for homeschoolers. So for under $200, you have access to all of the lessons in CTCMath for all of your children. Another thing I'd like to point out is that you have the option to start a free trial. So for example, if you go in as a parent under free trial, you can sign up in under 60 seconds and you will have access to a limited amount of lessons. Once you have purchased a membership, this is your parent view on the CTCMath dashboard. You have easy access to CTCMath via email or by phone call, so you have consistent support in case you run into any problems. It'll also tell you when your subscription expires. Right under that, you'll see this green box labeled students. All of your students will be listed here so you can access their profile and results directly. It'll also tell you how many lessons they've completed. I've created a demo student here for us to work with. Right below that, you have an account section, and you can edit these options so that if you want, you can receive a weekly progress report and their awards and certificates, or you don't need to. There's an area for exams here that'll list out any live exams that are happening, recent exams, or upcoming exams. Here I've created 2 upcoming exams for my demo student, and it lets me know when those are coming up so I can remind my student in real time. Below the section for exams is a section for tasks. Now this section has received a great update since the last time that I used CTCMath that a lot of us might not be aware of, and it is a course planner. So previously you did have to attach lessons one by one so that your student could have a cohesive lesson plan going forward for the year. But now you have a course planner option so that you can actually assign all of your students' lessons for the year in one fell swoop, and that will be the topic of my next video, but I'll show you that a little bit more in a minute. Down here you can see there's an area for student activity, so you can see recently what has happened, as well as any awards the students might have gotten, as well as any of your weekly reports. So you don't have to go to your email to access those, you can have them right here as well. If you go to the task bar here, you'll notice there is the opportunity to add lesson by hitting new task. You can also hit the course planner and do an entire course plan for the year. And you can add new weekly revision sets if you like by clicking here for my demo student. And I can say there's weekly revision tasks for the remaining weeks in this school year. or for the entire school year. And I can select what grade level those revisions are. So for example, 3rd grade, and when that revision should be. So if I want Friday revisions and at what time. You have the option of automatically mailing the task report to the task owner, or to hide the year level from the student. So for example, if your student is reviewing, or if your student becomes a little bit sensitive about the fact that they might be doing a 3rd grade topic when they're technically in 4th grade, etc., you can hide that year level from the student as well. When I look at upcoming student assignments now, you can see here for my demo student, there are weekly revisions set, and these are each a week apart. So you can see this one's in 46 days, 53 days, etc. And so set 1, set 2, set 3. So back on the task screen, I wanted to show you if I assign assignments one by one, this is how they appear on the screen. So the weekly revisions are here. There's a couple assignments that I have added on my own. So if you can see here, there's a homework assignment here, one for Monday, July 4th. This was recent, obviously not done. This is future. If I click on edit, I can change those dates. If I click here, I can delete them. You can also select a bunch of assignments at once and delete the selected tasks. If you hit delete selected tasks, it gives you a little prompt so that you can make sure that you want to do that before you go ahead and erase your work. You can also hide weekly revisions if you only want to see the homework assignments. So the options to customize your screen and your view are vast. This is the new feature of CTCMath that was not there the last time we used this curriculum, and this is the course planner. I think it's so well done, and in our next video we'll go over how to set up a course plan for the entire year in detail. Right now I just wanted you to take a look at it. You can pick your student, you can select the year level that you're working with here. You can decide to use diagnostic tests or not. The diagnostic test feature of CTCMath is an excellent feature, because if your student does need some more revision or doesn't, if your student has already achieved mastery of a topic, these diagnostic tests offer you the ability to see that ahead of time, and you can skip over entire sections or topic areas because your student already has mastery in that area, and that really does make math a lot less onerous for your student and for you, and a lot more efficient. When you select the dates for your student in the course planner, you can select the school year remaining, or you can select a custom date range. So for a lot of us homeschoolers, we have a very custom schedule, which is one of the wonderful things about homeschooling. And you can select exactly when you would like your year to begin and when you want it to stop. So whether you're doing year-round schooling or not, this gives you that ability to adjust there. You can also select when they receive their new activities each week, whether you're going to school through the holidays. CTCMath also offers you the option of whether the student can choose whether to do the interactive questions online or do the questions in a worksheet format, and whether they must reach their pass grade before progressing or just complete the assignments. So the pass grade default is 80%. Right now, the course plan summary includes 128 lessons and 22 diagnostic tests for 35 weeks with 4 to 5 activities per week, but I can adjust that by adjusting any of these selections here. I can also adjust the naming style of the curricula here. The amount of options for customization that CTCMath affords you is remarkable. When you head to the exam tab, you have the ability to create new exams. You'll see here I've created 2 exams already. And if you hit new exam, you have the ability to use an existing question bank that you've used as the exam, or you can create an entirely new exam. The first step is to select the topic and lesson. So again, like so many other things in CTCMath, you select your student's desired grade level for this test. You select the section or topic area that they are in. You select exactly what you would like to test them on. So for example, if we're doing a test on solids, or perhaps we want to include all of the topic areas, we can do that as well. You can select the number of questions ranging from 5 all the way to 120. It defaults to 40. You can select the difficulty level from easier, evenly distributed, or harder. And once you hit generate questions, you can see here that it gives you all of these different test questions. You can also customize it a little bit more by selecting a lesson here. And there are 28 available questions that are testing the angles concept. In this test, there should be 3 questions, so you can select which 3 questions those should be. If, for example, you know your student understands this concept, but this concept might be harder, you can adjust those questions. You have a great degree of control under this program. Once you go to settings, you can select the recipient for this test. You can change the exam title to indicate the date. When you change the date, the exam title will change automatically. So you'll notice here I changed it to the 16th and the title will change. You can set an exam duration, reading time prior to the exams, and you can set it to automatically email the exam report to the teacher when their exam is done. I love this feature because it's so easy to change the date, the duration. For example, let's say your student gets sick and this was originally scheduled for the 16th, but now you want to push it. It's just one little step. So you just hit edit here and you can do that very, very quickly. Under the question bank tab, you have the ability to create not only question banks from previous exams, etc., that you've created, but also fresh new question banks. If you hit this button, very similarly to how you made a test topic area, you can select the course level of your student. You can select exactly which section you want the questions to be about. You can select which concepts within that section that you want the question banks to be about simply by clicking and unhighlighting or highlighting these topic areas. When you hit next, as similar to the exam section, you can select the number of questions, the difficulty level, and when you click generate, you have a sheet here that is grouped by difficulty in the questions here. You can group it by difficulty or by the lesson area. So for example, right now, you have single-digit missing number questions all together, and so the difficulty level changes, or you can group by difficulty level, so you'll have different topic areas like single-digit missing numbers to looking for tens to two-digit addition, but all the easy questions are up first. Again, there's advanced customization where you can select these questions, and when you save, oh, we did not enter a title. So go back to here and you can enter in worksheet week 1 if you like, and then save the question bank. And so you'll see right here, worksheet week 1 is a question bank. If I wanted to clone that, I could. If I wanted to delete it or print it out, I can do that as well. So you'll see here, when you print it out, you have a nice little sheet here with all the questions laid out. So for some kids who really love to see it on paper, you can do that. You can add working space to your question sheet, and this space is adjustable, so we can increase it by hitting the plus or decrease it with the minus. What a lovely feature. I'm discovering that right now as I speak. So you can do it below the questions, you can do the workspace next to the questions, and then you can add student details if you like, a place for name and date. I know this is something that I wish I had worked on more with my students before some of them ended up going to school. You can also view your question banks with answers, so you can create your own answer sheets. That makes life a lot easier, I know, especially if you have multiple children going through these programs, so that they can grade their own work easily, but also so that you have a question bank with an answer key already set up for you. Under the Tools tab, you have the ability to do so much admin work on CTCMath. You have the ability to browse all of the lessons under any of the courses, so those are over 2,000 different lessons you'll notice here, but you can go to all courses and go to grade 3 for my demo student. You can go right to a lesson and you have the ability to view the video that the student would see, look at the questions, and print out a summary for them. I'm going to go in a little bit of a reverse order for you so you can see that the summary looks like a single sheet summary of the lesson. This is a great thing to print out for students who keep math notebooks, etc. And then you also have the ability to see the video that the student would see. There is an audio component to this. The narrator's voice is an Australian accent. I'm just muting it so you can hear me, but it will go through the lesson. You'll notice that the lessons are fairly short. The longest lessons I have seen so far are still under 10 minutes, but a lot of them are under 3 minutes, which is great for students. CTCMath does a great job of short focused lessons and then short focused review activities. You can also get your lesson summary from this screen itself, and you can look at the questions here as well. So if you would like to log in as a student here, you can, but if we are just doing it as a parent, as we are right now, you can see them right here. So we're typing in all the ordinal numbers here. This is exactly what your student would have to do. and submit the answer. You'll see every time you get an answer right, you gain a little mastery point here. If the student does need to see the solution, it will show you exactly what that answer is in real time. So these are interactive questions. If I get it wrong, so for example, all of those are wrong, I have the ability to see that the answer is wrong immediately. I lose my mastery point, and I can also see the solution. Once you've gained all of these mastery point stars, after every 3 questions answered correctly, you gain a big mastery point and you can go on. You also have the ability to make this a full screen image if you wanted to. Another admin feature here is under export data, so you can export CSV files of a summary of your students, a comprehensive summary showing their detailed performance, which might be a very large file because it will include information about their individual questions that they've answered and lessons that they've done. There's also a student activity log as well as the CTCMath curriculum list of lessons, etc. So these are great admin features for anybody who is working with a charter, for example, or needs to report to a homeschool supervisory type of organization. There's also checklists available to you. Now, I don't know about you, but I am a big fan of checklists. If you go to my demo students' 3rd grade checklist, you will have this very nice list of every single lesson and topic area. So here you have the section or topic area and every lesson included within that. They can mark down when they completed it and what their ultimate grade was in that lesson. There's also a couple of manipulatives available to you, so you don't have to go hunting and pecking for graph paper or for a number line. So just so that you can see what this might look like, it's just a piece of graph paper so that your student can print it out, and the number line is similarly useful and straightforward. So great little visual aids for your student to use. Heading back to our home screen, I wanted to log in as the demo student so you could see exactly how the student would see their view. On the student view, it's very similar to our home page, but much more streamlined. The first thing I wanted to show you is under settings, the student has the opportunity to adjust their view. So for example, if the student prefers a dark theme, they have many different color options. If they prefer a light theme, they also have various different color options here. So I think that's a fun little addition for them. If they click on tasks, you'll see here there's a little to alert button, and it's showing them that they have 2 overdue assignments that I made for my dummy student. If they've completed anything, they can see that, and if they're actively working on something, they can go there. They can also head to their exam tab, and they have a view of anything they're working on that they've completed, the exams that are coming up, etc. They can't click on this yet because this exam isn't scheduled for a few days yet. So if you go to their lessons tab, you'll notice that I've set up some lessons for my student. If you go to the angles lesson, the video lesson will start, and you'll notice this lesson also is under 3 minutes long. It gives you a very nice graphic representation with audio of the lesson. I think this is a great feature for students who learn in a very visual way. It helps cement learning, even for students who do fine with a static textbook, but this type of graphical representation I think is helpful for almost anyone. It'll give you sample problems in the lesson itself so that you have a little bit of supported problem solving. And then at the bottom of that, the student can print out their lesson summary as we had seen before from this very screen. So they have the 1-page summary, and they can hit print here or download the PDF, and that they can head right over to the questions. When they start the questions, it's very similar in format to what I showed you before, where they have an opportunity to enter in exactly what they're working on. So I'm going to click and drag here for the vertex, the angle, and the arm. If you get it correct, again, it'll give you that immediate feedback. And if you got it wrong, or if you get it right, you have the opportunity to see the solution. The students can also make it a large screen if they prefer that. When they go to the results tab, they have access to a summary report of everything that they've worked on, including their scores for diagnostic tests, their topic average in that area, and their rate of completion or their degree of completion. This entire set of lessons for kindergarten is 52 lessons, but if our demo student is in 3rd grade, they simply have to click on that and they'll see where they are. But if my student is working on 2 or 3 different grade levels, they can be progressing in those grade levels at once, and they have access to all of that information. There's individual results for their lessons, their tests, and their question banks, as well as for their exams. The task completion has a percentage, and they can track whether they've done these on time or not. This does not have to be a theoretical discussion with your student anymore. You have numerical evidence of whether or not they are getting their work done on time. The weekly revisions here, you have a chart that gives you a report exactly for how they're doing with how many questions they've gotten right or wrong. There is an awards section where they can achieve topic awards and course awards. And there is a section for games. So you have level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4 games. Another way to access the speed, skills, and timetables games and swap pieces games are right down here. And we may show you those in a different video, but just really quickly, the games are really fun. Speed skills especially is very quick. So for example, if I was doing addition, it gives me, I think, about 45 questions or so, and they simply have to enter the numbers without hitting return or anything. At the end, it'll give them an average for their results. So they have the opportunity to play those 3 different games. Heading back to the lessons tab, I just wanted to show you what a diagnostic test might look like for the student. They can select a short, standard, or comprehensive diagnostic test. You can make a policy with them that if they get a certain score on a diagnostic test, they can skip ahead past those lessons, etc. And that's really a personal preference up to you. So just like the test questions or the lesson questions, they'll go through these and get a score at the end, and that gives them a lot of insight into how well they know that material going in. So that was a whirlwind tour through CTCMath, but I wanted to tell you the 3 things that I'm most impressed by on my initial look-see. I love their new course planner feature on tasks that allows you to create lesson plans for the entire year for your student in one fell swoop. I love the fact that all your students have access to all of the lessons within the grade levels K through 12. So if they need review or if they're just progressing very quickly, they can. I also love the diagnostic test feature so that they can assess their knowledge before they start lessons. And I love the record keeping on CTCMath. I think that this ability to have weekly reports to stay on top of your children's progress, but also the access to the CTC files of all of their lessons, their scores, etc., their attendance even within this curriculum is so helpful, particularly if you have any kind of homeschool oversight, for example, through a charter or through your state. So I'm very excited to use this as part of our math curriculum for this upcoming 5th grade year. All right, everybody. So that was a brief look through CTCMath, what you can expect to see when you first sign up and navigate through the website. In the coming weeks, I'll be sharing with you how I set up the year in CTCMath for my student, as well as some of my favorite things about CTCMath. So if you don't want to miss any of those videos, be sure to subscribe down below. All the relevant links are located down below in case you want to check it out for yourself. So be sure to look at that description box. If you could take a moment and hit like on this video, I would really appreciate it. As always, you guys, I realize your time is valuable, so thank you so much for spending some of it with me, and I wish you the very best day.